Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff. I'm with Christopher Straub, fashion designer and stylist, and we're learning about his latest project. We're talking Playtime essentials with our friend and new dad, Christopher Straub. And then he'll teach me something, how to turn cast-off footwear into artwear. Stay with us. Hi, I'm Happi. I learned early on things are much easier with a little help. I also have a few tricks of my own to share. It's go time, people. Welcome to the Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff. I'm here today with Christopher Straub, fashion designer and stylist, and you are fantastic at both of those things. But you've got another project that you have cooked up, this amazing little book.
Well, thank you.
How did you come about thinking about writing a book, or how did this whole thing come to be?
Well, it's sort of a multi-pronged effort that went into this, and really it came from, I've always been a fan of manatees forever, since I was a very small child. I just liked that they were kind of the odd one out. They weren't pretty, no one was getting tattoos of them. Like, they're not the dolphin, right? Everyone loves the dolphin. The dolphin does the thing and bounces on the nose, and it's like everyone loves the dolphin. But the manatees are sort of they're sort of off to the side, and they're a little misunderstood, and they're not all that pretty. And I love that aspect of them.
You gravitated
right?
towards that, yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so as an artist, I've been sort of drawing these and creating these forever. But then recently, I've been doing a lot more illustrations for other businesses, big businesses, even celebrities, and I haven't been able to really put my name on it. And I thought, well, this is the perfect time for me to put my illustrations and my love of manatees together in this book.
And tell a really great story, actually. So, spoiler alert, this book is about a manatee who, like you said, doesn't feel understood and is really just trying to find his place, which I think is an amazing message for kids. Mm-hmm. And I also love the amazing backgrounds on every page. How did you do that?
So all the backgrounds are photographs, photorealism printing of a photograph that I took of crumpled up paper. And so there's a lot of texture and a lot of depth. If you turn the page, every page is a different color. And so you're at a little different moment in the sea, and it really gives some variety and just another visual impact to the book. All the illustrations are colored just a little bit outside of the lines.
I can see that actually right here.
It's one of my sort of just calls to that nothing's perfect, nobody's perfect, like imperfect is perfect.
Right.
And so that just, really just added to the visual effect of the book as well.
I have to say that my son has this book, and he will actually spend a lot of time looking at the texture, the background texture, and I think just engaging kids in small things but big things. I mean, really engaging them to pay attention to things is something that is important, and this book really does.
I wanted it to feel important and tactile, and that's also why I did it in hardcover. But on the cover, on the front, you may notice that the background is matte, and then there's a UV polish finish on the character and the words, and that's another way to sort of force perspective and give depth and another creative aspect to the book.
So there's also a little friend that goes with this book, our plush guy, who we have this Albert. And talk to me, I actually wouldn't even know how to create a plush animal. I mean, what's the process of that?
Well, I really wanted it to be not just an exact replica of, not the same proportions as the drawing character. I wanted to feel a little more huggable. The proportions are a little more round and kind of, easy to interact with. But the hardest thing for me to do was not necessarily the shape and the style, but was the fur. I didn't want this to feel like a plush from any store. I wanted it to feel really handcrafted. And so I went to my factories and went through all sorts of fabric swatches and came up with a couple styles that I liked, and I said, make a new one that looks like this but feels like this. And we came up with this. This is nowhere else on the planet is my little gray plush for this manatee.
It's really beautiful, and it's just the right size, honestly, for a 2-year-old or an 8-year-old, as I have. So I love it. Very well done. So you said you've loved manatees your entire life, but I happen to know that this project started a very, very long time ago with a tiny little manatee.
Well, being an artist, I for my entire life, I was sculpting manatees as well. And so I have this little manatee that I made probably when I was, I don't know, 15 years old. So over 20 years ago, I was in high school, and made this little guy. And this, I discovered this like a couple months ago, actually, after I had published the book. So isn't it funny, if you look at them side by side, it's, you know, it's really the beginnings of this character.
I love this story because a lot of times in our lives we think of something and it's brewing in the back of our mind, but we might not have time or might not be in the space, or it needs to just continue to develop. But it's really important to remember that as people, we might do something 15 years, 20 years later that started when we were younger. And I love that about this.
Well, and it's like the passion was there. Like I knew I wanted to do something like this and put my name on it. So I did all the writing, all the illustrations, and even self-published the book and designed the fabric. It's very much a part of me, this project.
It's a labor of love. So the message in this book is really about Albert finding his place. Did that stem from something personally?
Here's what's so great about the book is that originally when I started writing it, it didn't have a message. And it was really just a factual, you know, like it tells you facts about a manatee and compares and contrasts him with all of his other animals, animal friends in the sea, right? And then when I had it reviewed by another author, they said, oh, I see the message. It's about acceptance and, you know, really applicable things with our lives. And I thought, oh my gosh, that wasn't what I set out to do. It just happened organically. And I almost am happier about that than having to have tried to force it or gone out there with the message. So it really is, you can find the message in it. It can just be about facts of this is what a manatee is compared to a dolphin, or compared to a seal, or compared to a pufferfish. But you can also see the message that even though we are all different, we have commonalities, and we can find those commonalities in each other.
I love it. It's amazing. And as I said, my son responded very positively to this book. So thank you so much for writing it. Thank you for being with us today. To learn more about Christopher's work, visit his website, christopherstraub.com, or visit our website. We are talking Playtime Basics today with Christopher Straub. Christopher, you are a new dad.
Yes, two toddlers.
So I am here to share some of my favorite Playtime go-tos that I've always used. I have 4 kids and now they're older, but I've endured and loved a lot of Playtime over the years.
Well, I can use any tips and tricks and ideas that you have for me.
Okay, so one of my favorite things to do is make Play-Doh with the kids. It's just great for tactile playtime. So I'm gonna share my favorite recipe. It's an oldie but a goodie. So this recipe is so basic and it is made with just things from your kitchen.
Great.
The first thing you do is mix dry ingredients, which is 1 cup flour and 2 teaspoons cream of tartar. Okay. And then the next thing is to add a 1/3 cup salt and stir the dry ingredients around.
All right.
Then,
This is easy so far.
it is easy. Then the final thing is to add 1 cup water and 1 tablespoon vegetable oil, which I already have in here.
Great.
So that goes in. And then we are going to cook this on the stovetop at medium-low heat. Gel food coloring, which you can find at your local grocery store or a lot of craft stores, makes these super vibrant colors. You're not gonna get like this purple without using a gel food coloring. It's just that easy. Now all you have to do is cook it up, but that takes about 5 minutes in total, and you'll know it is ready when it looks and feels like this.
Easy.
Okay, so I have got some of my favorites that I think every playroom or house with kids needs. Your 2 kiddos are pretty close together, so what's nice about it is also these things have lots of different parts, so these are all things that they can use together, and you don't have to have 2 separate toys. So what are your favorite things to do so far?
We like playing with blocks and bricks and trains, and we do flashcards. Yeah.
Are they very advanced?
I would like to think so.
So let me show you something that you didn't mention, which are these stacking cubes. So they nest and stack. So all these cubes fit into each other. But what you'll notice about them is every different side has an element to it. So this talks about numbers. And then if you'll notice, it talks about the number 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can equate the number 7 with counting. It's got, of course, an adorable animal on it. So it's got animal recognition, and they're each a different color. So this is colors, numbers, counting, also nesting and stacking. It's fun to use these to hide something. Like you might want to hide and ask, all right, find the square. So then you lift this up and check and see where the square is. Oh, that's a circle. And so that's another really easy and fun thing you can do to use these blocks. So toys can be combined with each other.
That's great.
This is a really fun activity, and our hands, we're grown up, so our hands are a little bit big for this, but when you take an old container of like wipes that you might have for cleaning, or you could actually use any kind of vessel that is opaque and the child can fit their hand into. So what you can do is load it with all kinds of crazy trinkets, and they reach in and try to identify what it is they're finding. Or you might say, find me the letter A. And so you would put just all alphabet letters in here, and they would reach in and find that letter based on the feel.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's lots of fun. It's kind of a mystery. And you could easily, honestly, use a cube like this and kind of just cover it with something, and they could also reach in and do that.
Or put their little blankie over it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
So you mentioned blocks, and you have some blocks in front of you. I love this particular set of blocks because it's a little bit smaller. It's got a lot of different colors, a lot of different shapes. So again, there are so many things you can do with this beyond building. I mean, it's fun to actually do like a little scavenger hunt. So you hide a collection of these in different places around the house and maybe give clues as to where they might be. And so there's just a lot of different ways it can be used. Again, this particular set, it has like 100 pieces to it. They're not all out right now. And so the boys can play together.
Well, and we like, you know, it's an easy thing to build, but sometimes it's fun to say, to try something different, like, oh, let's get all the green pieces, or let's get all the cubes or the squares or the you know, circular pieces together.
Exactly, and that's what's so fantastic about open-ended toys. So you mentioned to me earlier that your boys already love cards.
They love cards.
So this particular set of cards, I love a lot because it's got different animals on it and it's just sort of engaging. They're also a little bit oversized. But cards can be used at a very early age, as long as they aren't tearing or whatever. They can be used at a very early age because there's so many activities you can do with cards rather than just traditional card games.
Right.
So that's a good one. And then finally, we've got our stacking cubes here, but these plastic nesting cups are another one of my favorites because they are great for tub play, sand play, snow play, just regular play. And this one comes with a shape sorter on the top.
I love it.
So, all right, I think you should be set with some of these.
I think I'm going to be just using them more than the kids are. All right.
Thanks so much for talking with us today.
Well, thank you for showing me all this stuff. I definitely have a lot of things that I can apply to our daily playtime.
Yeah, and I like to keep it simple. You don't want so many things that the kids are overwhelmed, so finding those things that have multiple uses is key.
Great.
Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you.
For other activities you can do with babies, toddlers, and big kids, log on to our website. Up next, Christopher teaches me how to revitalize and customize an old pair of boots using something you might not expect. I'm here with Christopher Straub today, Project Runway finalist and my friend.
Yes.
And last time I saw you, Christopher, you were wearing the most amazing boots, and I asked you, where did you get them? And you told me.
I made them, like I repurposed them.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do is create the effect of a metal toe on the boot. And so I'm going to show you how to do this.
It's pretty spectacular. So these you've already started doing.
That's right. We are going to make the mate to these.
Are they yours or?
No, these I actually got at a thrift store for just a couple bucks. So this is something that you can do to update your own boots, or you can find one in your size and make them personal. You can do it with boots. You can do just a little detail on shoes, even on flats, just the front of the toe.
So let's get started. What do we need to do?
So this is what we need to do the project. We need whatever shoe or boot that we're going to do.
Shoe,
right
check.
here. We're going to need some tissue paper. I've already put some in there. Go ahead and push that into the toe because we're going to want it nice and stiff because we're going to be pushing a lot on here, all right? Then we're going to need masking tape to tape off the area, so we'll share this. We're going to need scissors, and that's going to help cut plastic bags that we've got off to our side here.
Okay.
And that's when we paint, we're going to mask off the area, cover the rest of the shoe in the plastic bag, and then we're going to take our metallic spray paint. And I like metallic, that's the look I'm going for. You can use a solid color if you want, you can use a glitter paint. This works great for giving this effect.
Now, is this going to last on my shoe? Will it wear well?
Well, that's a good question. That's why we have a clear coat that we can put on after it's all finished and after it's all dry. So we are going to start by taping off the area. And don't be afraid of using like little bits. So I'm going to tear off little strips and tape around. I want to go as close to that line as possible.
The front seam of
Exactly.
my shoe. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a bunch of tape. I'm going to hand this over to you and you can start too, okay? And as you go, push that stuff down firmly. That's why we stuffed, because it's gonna benefit you.
So I'm actually using my fingernail to put it in.
That was gonna be my next tip.
Okay.
You got me.
You're so good.
No, you're so good.
Okay.
So then I wanna go around the base. So where it meets the sole, and like you said, using your fingernail to go in and really securing the tape to the sole, because it's so easy. I mean, like I'm telling you right now, we're halfway through.
The prep work is almost the hardest part.
Exactly, and and making sure that prep work is right is really the key to the success of this project.
Let me do this.
Yep, exactly.
need more,
And when you come around on the front, just make sure to close up that gap here,
Okay.
where the little architecture meets up with the sole too.
Okay. Okay. All right, Christopher, I think I'm done. Although I feel like I need to reinforce this a little bit.
Yeah.
Your shoe looks a little bit different. And how do you make actually the process look artistic and the finished product look artistic?
It really is that I know that the way this looks now is going to represent the way it looks once it's
Okay.
spray painted.
Okay.
You're great. You're covering all your spots, so you are definitely on par.
I'm in training.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect.
So now what?
All right, so now the next step is you've got to grab your little trash bag that I pushed off to the side there, and we are going to mask the entire shoe, okay?
Entire shoe or just?
The entire shoe that we don't want to paint.
Got it. Okay.
Very good, very good. So I have a scissors, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut probably about a 6-inch hole towards the bottom here. You don't want the underside of your tape to stick to the bag at all, so slip it in just so that little bit of the toe peeks out.
Look. Did I do this?
Yeah, you're doing it. And so what we have to do now is a little more taping, but this
Okay.
time we don't have to be as thorough.
Because I'm taping my bag down. Is
That's
that
right, exactly. Be sure to push down really tight too to make sure that there are no gaps where the paint can get in between the tape and the bag,
Okay. I think I did that.
because that's called overspray and we don't want that.
Here's what's going to happen. Original shoe, my shoe. We're going to compare it. I feel like there's going to be a problem, but.
I don't think we're going to have much of a problem.
Okay.
We want to make sure not to get paint on the rest of our shoe, and so
Oh yes, my shoe is actually exposed because if there's a breeze, it can like blow back.
that's right, exactly. So you can tuck that in, and here I'll get some little tape bits.
There.
Look at that.
Perfect.
It's called teamwork.
Teamwork.
Definitely, if you have an assistant, this is going to go a lot quicker. All right. So
Okay.
watch me.
Okay.
All right. So we want to be about 12 inches away, 12 to 16 inches away, and just light blasts. We want to coat all sides of it, the front, the back, the sides, the top. Okay?
Okay,
That's one coat. You don't want to be too close, and you don't want to just get one direction. You want to get all around.
Ooh, that was maybe bad.
That's great. All right, so we want to let this dry for a little bit,
Okay.
and then we're going to go in for a second coat. I think mine is ready for a second coat because it dries very
Yeah, I
quickly,
see
like
that.
right now.
Yep. It's like literally a minute or less.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. So yours might be good because that metallic, that silver metallic is very strong.
So we need to wait about how long, Christopher?
5-10 minutes.
Let's take a rest in the hammock.
Okay.
And then we'll come back.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Are we going to fall over? Are you excited about your shoe?
Yeah, I am excited about my shoe.
I'll tell you the best way to do this. Turn it over and kind of break it open from the bottom.
Okay.
Okay? And then you can slowly lift off all the tape. It's amazing.
I did it.
You did a great job.
I was a little nervous, actually. These are very cute.
So there you go. So then, I mean, and no one would question that you had just used a little bit of tape, a trash bag, and some spray paint.
And an original creation.
There
I
you go.
mean,
And it's something for you to be
accessories,
proud of.
I love making accessories look a little bit different than anything else out there because a lot of the things we buy are just from mass retailers or things like that. So
And this is a way to make it special and make it
differentiate.
stand out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you, Christopher.
thank you.
It's been fun, as always.
always.
Really good. Stop down, everyone.
Shoes. They're 6.5.
So I can, I want
6.5. They're 6.5.
You have to get tissue out of it.
There's 6.5 and there's tissue in there, girl.